Let's talk about how to respond when people call you privileged. Little warning, this video may make some people uncomfortable, but if you feel an anger or any type of feeling like that, I would urge you to self-reflect. Because at the end of the video, if you fully grasp what I'm saying, there could be a lot of growth and healing. So the definition of privilege is having special rights and advantages. There are many reasons why people get upset when called privileged, but I think there's two very big main reasons. The first thing would be if someone had a really tough life or is currently going through something really hard and is being called privileged. They may immediately reject that because they don't feel privileged. What they went through or what they're currently going through is a struggle. So somebody telling them they have advantages may feel dismissive or invalidating, which leads me to the second point. To many people, privileged, that word means violent acts or abuse of power. And if someone calls someone else privileged, that person may get defensive because it's saying you are abusive, you are violent. People in general do not want to feel like they are being called a bad person. I'll give you guys a few examples of this. Man versus bear in the woods. A lot of men got very defensive because women saying that to them were making them feel like they were a bad person. Another example would be people who are not continuously talking or rallying about the wars going on in the world. When people call them privileged, they may get very defensive because they don't want to feel like a bad person. The same thing with skin tone and cultures. So let's talk about this. Privilege does not mean someone has all the rights in the world, all the advantages. It could mean just in one area. For example, I was born with a very sick body. I've had multiple surgeries, almost died. I was not privileged in the matters of health, but I did have advantages because of my skin tone. Growing up, my skin tone wasn't a factor in having my friends and teachers and getting bullied and getting work. I'm not talking emotionally, I'm talking factually. People with different complexions had a lot less rights than I did. People who have been suppressed is a disadvantage. The same thing applies to gender. Since forever, the female gender has been suppressed. These are facts. The same thing happening to people that are in the middle of the wars in different countries. They do not have rights. So how to respond when someone calls you privileged is to say, yes, I know. Acknowledging that we have certain privileges is not saying I have never gone through my own struggles. And it's also not saying I am a bad person. I'm going to switch it up a little. If you've ever been called privileged and you got upset, I'm talking straight to you. Imagine the things that you went through in your life, the struggles, the hardships that you had to go through. Imagine me telling you that they are not real. Did you go through abuse, or is your health bad, or it was bad? Let it go, suck it up. It is not important. When you get upset at someone calling you privileged, that is you telling them that your experience, whether past or present, doesn't matter. So if you do get upset when people call you privileged, you need to do two things for yourself. Number one, give yourself compassion and validation for the things that you did go through. So if somebody says that you have a certain thing, you're not going to get triggered by that. Because you give yourself compassion, you'll be able to extend that compassion to others. And the second thing is acknowledge that you do have certain privileges, and that's a fact. And that doesn't make you a bad person, because acknowledging something is compassion. Dismissing people's experiences is showing that you're not a safe person, but acknowledging it is showing empathy and being the change that we all wish to see in the world.